Hey, what's up guys, it's Nick2. Today I'm going to be showing you guys my almost perfectly optimized Technomancer build. I've had a ton of you guys asking me in my Twitch chat, check me out on Twitch at twitch.tv/Nick2, about this build, so I figured that I would just make a video since a lot of you have expressed interest. I just want to mention that this build is specifically meant for farming CT15s as most efficiently and consistently as possible. As such, I'm going to assume that you guys understand most about the character. If you're interested in a more introductory build, I have a separate build video for that, so link for that in the description, but you can also just check my channel. But yeah, with this build, I've pretty much just been farming CT15s, just smashing them super quickly while trying to get gear for my other characters. I'll be making builds like this for every other character, so make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. And with this build, I was able to actually do Boomtown in only 3 minutes and 57 seconds, and I'll leave gameplay of that at the end of the video. But yeah, let's just get right into it. So like I said, I'm going to assume that you guys know most things, so I'm not going to go super in depth. We're pretty much just going to speed right through it, and I'm just going to talk about all of my thought processes behind things and what I think you guys can do. There's a good amount of variation in what mods, etc. you can run, especially because not everybody can always get the same items. So yeah, I'll mention all those, but we'll pretty much just talk about what I'm using. So first off, when it comes to skills, using Cold Snap for just some CC. I also have a mod that works pretty well with it, but you could swap this out for Shrapnel if you wanted or whatever, but Cold Snap's pretty nice. Then we have Blighted Turret. This is mainly just to proc a node in our skill tree that's going to give us extra weapon damage, and then obviously Blighted rounds. As for the nodes, not really going to talk about everything individually here. The main thing is you pretty much just fill out the tree, and then you go back to get extra nitrogen capsule, and then you get weapon leech. If you wanted to use Shrapnel for even more damage to give up the CC, you could use Shrapnel with Cannonade, and then you could get even more damage, and then you could ditch Cold Snap. Alternatively, if you have Anomaly Enhancement on your gear, on like your weapon, you could also ditch this Weapon Leech node and go for a Grand Amplification to get just a little bit of extra Weapon Leech, or Anomaly power, but it doesn't really matter. Let's just talk about the weapon real quick, because this is really easy to get out of the way. Pretty much everybody at the moment is using burst rifles when it comes to Technomancer. Honestly, I'm not 100% certain on why it does so much damage. It just does so much damage. I haven't sat here and done the math and stuff like that, but it just is way more consistent than using a rifle. You can use it at like pretty much any range. It has a pretty far range, but also it seems to do as much burst damage as a rifle does without the shortcomings of a rifle, with it being, you know, hard to clear ads, etc. If you want to use a rifle, you totally can, and that's like almost as good, but a burst AR is literally just a better rifle. Currently, I'm just using a random purple one that just happened to have high firepower. Main thing you're looking for on a burst rifle is getting crit damage and long range damage, and if you're lucky, also get close range damage. However, if you can't, it's okay. I would prioritize the crit damage and having a very high firepower. The Inferno Seed actually rolls pretty decent by default with crit dam and long range damage. You just want to get it at a pretty high firepower. This roll I have isn't that bad, and the Wrath of Moloch mod isn't all that bad either. However, getting high firepower is pretty much a priority, which is why I'm still using mine, even though the tier 1 mod is pretty much useless for doing damage. It pretty much just heals me, which I personally don't really care about. For the mod, I just put on Killing Spree. That's pretty much all you really want. In terms of like the other mod, if I were to get a purple with a perfect roll on it, another mod that I'd look for would probably be Gravedigger's Frenzy, as that gives you 50% crit damage and it's pretty helpful. Other things like Bone Shrapnel, Anomaly Enhancement, even Wrath of Moloch here. Any specific T2 mods that you particularly like, you could probably just use. You're really just at the mercy of the gods trying to get a really good purple or potentially a really high firepower Inferno Seed, as Inferno Seed rolls pretty decent by default. You just lose the close range damage, but who really cares? The biggest thing here, make sure you get Killing Spree. You can get that off of an Amber Vault. I believe I have one here. Yeah, you get it off of an Amber Vault, so just try to get that, but there's plenty of other pretty good mods, so pretty much just look out for whatever you want to use. This is what's been working perfectly fine for me, as you can see from the gameplay, even though I have one dead mod, but this is one way that my build could be even more optimized. But, you know, I've been farming all day today and yesterday, and I didn't get another one, so whatever. As for a rifle, you'd probably want the same rolls. I don't actually use this rifle, I just have it sit on my back all the time. I rolled Gravedigger on it because I was farming for something earlier where I wasn't getting Killing Spree. Doesn't matter, you just put Killing Spree on it too, and you could keep Anomaly Enhancement because that's pretty free, and it rolls crit damage, long range damage. So if you want to use a rifle, Rarig's Gaze is pretty good for that. Pistol doesn't matter, just make sure it's level 51 or else your overall health is going to be lower. Keep that in mind. When it comes to your gear, let's just go over every individual piece in a row, and then I'll do some honorable mentions for other mods that I think are pretty good. So generally speaking, you want every piece of gear to have bonus firepower, long range damage, and close range damage. Alternatively, you could swap out close range damage for cooldown reduction so that you can cold snap more often. But generally, this is just going to be the most consistent because sometimes there's literally just no way around having mobs be right in front of you. So getting that extra damage when they are close to you can be pretty helpful, but it doesn't matter too much. Mainly just go for the firepower and the long range damage. And then I have Sharp Eye here, which is a tier 3, which actually comes from this beret, or it comes from, I think it's Plague Sour Boots. I think it comes from. And then we have Bloodlust. Sharp Eye is pretty much just a better Bloodlust as it doesn't deteriorate over time and it lasts a little bit longer. Both of these are going to stack your firepower an insane amount, and they just increase your damage by an absolute ton. So I would say if there's anything that is a must in this build, definitely get Sharp Eye and Bloodlust. For the chest piece, I'm actually using the Robe of the Borealis Monarch. The reason is it has the, not only does it roll pretty decently with firepower, status power, long range damage. I don't really like the status power, but that's okay. I actually really like Icicle Storm, where cold snap killing enemies frozen by it, they explode and then it kind of sets off a chain reaction. You probably saw it in the intro clip where I killed one guy and then everything just died. This mod doesn't seem very good on paper, but actually for clearing certain expeditions quickly, this can save you a pretty good amount of time. And overall, if we had like a different mod here, it's not going to really alter how fast we're going to clear something because we already one burst or two burst most mobs. So doesn't really matter, and I think that this does save us some time, and it's also very easy to get since you can just buy this at the vendor and it rolls by default pretty good. And then we have Euthanizer, which is a tier 3 mod that gives us 25% extra damage to enemies afflicted with toxic, which is pretty good. Pretty much a must actually. You can get this from, I believe, the Plague Sour gloves, so look out for those. For our pants, we have again firepower, long range damage, close range damage, and then we have our way of getting survivability and our ammo back. So mitigation from death, in my opinion, is probably the best survivability mod next to emergency stance. The reason is this is going to give us an extra 150k armor, which is going to make our armor go from 50 to about 200k, which is going to make our damage reduction go from 50% to 78%, which actually makes us take a massive amount of less damage. So this is incredibly helpful and probably the best survivability mod in the game, especially because you have it up all the time. Alternatively, you can use bullet absorber is like okay, but I think it's just worse than mitigation from death in almost all accounts. Or you can use emergency stance. For our ammo, we just have toxic lead. You could use trick up the sleeve instead, but I'm using toxic lead because 40% ammo, and I've literally never had ammo problems when playing with this, and I've probably done over 100 expeditions, and you can check that on stream because I've been doing way too many trying to get a high roller for my trickster. Anyways, for my gloves, I'm using firepower. Long range damage, skill life leech. These aren't great. I would like close range damage, but whatever. We have Captain Hunter, so we do 25% extra damage to elites. That comes on a tier 3 mod. I don't remember what piece. I think it comes on. Oh wait, no, it comes on Cannonball gloves. These drop like candy, so you'll probably get that. And then we have Radical Therapy, deal 15% more damage to enemies afflicted with toxic. Tier 2, pretty easy to get. We always apply toxic, obviously, so that paired with the 25%, we should do 40% extra. Very cool. Very balanced. And then for our boots, we have firepower, long range, and close range damage. And then I actually use critical analysis because I think you can crit a lot, and it's going to work a lot on bosses, etc. I have Dum Dum Bullets rolled on here. I'm not sure if Dum Dum Bullets or crit stack is better. My philosophy behind using Dum Dum Bullets is just constant flat damage, whereas crit stack is only going to work for 5 seconds, and I don't know if getting another crit actually refreshes the full 5 stack. I didn't really notice a difference between swapping these two. Also, don't really think that it matters that much. So use whatever you want or whatever you have available. I could very easily just roll this off, but that's pretty much what I have. In terms of other mods that are decent, Long Winter is okay paired with the chest piece to increase the radius of it. However, I think if you position properly, you don't really need it. Alternatively, you could get Blighted Turret, now inflicts freeze. This is okay for CC. However, if you pair it with 25% more damage against enemies afflicted by freeze, and you get some cooldown reduction so that you can cold snap more often, that's actually very good. One thing that I should mention is I actually tried setting up 3-piece robe of the Borealis Monarch. I wanted to use 3-piece of this for the extra crit damage. It doesn't work for you personally, so that really sucked when I figured that out. But if you're playing with a friend, you can actually use 3 pieces of this with the chest, the helmet, and then the pants, and you don't even lose that much. You pretty much only end up losing like 1 mod, and you're getting 90% crit damage to your friend, but you also get extra weapon damage, and you are to frozen enemies, and it's 100% worth it. So if you're playing with a friend, definitely use this and try to get some more cooldown reduction, but like I said, this is a solo build, so I'm not using that. But that is one way that you could get some extra damage. Otherwise, for some tier 2 mods, you could get like the extra 15% close range damage, I think is okay. Um, let's see here. Yeah, like personal space would be okay. Like I said, you could use emergency stance for some survivability. Bullet absorber, wherever it is, up here, damage absorber rather. Um, those are all pretty decent. I can't find it, but perseverance munitions is pretty good. When you get like low health, you get some firepower. That's okay. But generally, I think what I have on is pretty much the best stuff. You could favor more survivability if you feel like it's necessary. I don't think we need to go double mag with this. I never have reload problems. If you have all these mods, your damage is going to be absolutely through the roof, that getting an extra mag is literally just a wasted mod slot. And you'd rather just go for more damage in the form of like critical analysis and stuff. Definitely don't undervalue Icicle Storm, but you don't have to use it. I like it, but whatever. I think it adds a little bit of flavor, and it's a little fun to use, but also it just helps clear speeds sometimes. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Enjoy the gameplay. Hopefully the video helped. If it did, please make sure to drop a like. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see videos similar to this one, especially for the other classes. And make sure to check me out on Twitch so you guys can see the even more updated, more optimized versions of the builds. And you can see the builds for the other characters before I end up putting them on YouTube. Alright, love to see you guys around. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys later. Peace. What's up, Voids? We're slowly having our mental state deteriorate. About it, you know, nothing too crazy. Nothing too out of the ordinary for us, truly. It's always pretty close, but it's obviously impossible. Yeah, I don't know. Based on like the timing with the little pillars, right? I don't think it's possible. But I don't know. I also didn't really watch anybody do it, so like I watched Saul do it for a few minutes and then I stopped watching. I personally just don't really care to do it. Focus on doing other stuff at the moment, like this build or my Trickster's build. Which would you say is the least valuable Twisted Round mod? Kind of depends. If you're not using embalmers, the crit damage one doesn't really help when you're using a shotgun. Because you can't really reliably land crits a lot. Other than that, I guess the leech one is good. However, you can get weapon leech if you're using like a vampiric mag and like T3 bleed. You can get weapon leech other ways, so it's not super crazy. I wonder what the map is like if we route this way. I don't think I've ever routed this way before. Honestly, maybe that guy from down there comes up here. And that way we could always just get those marksmans right there. We get these guys as they spawn, and we're already at the door. We don't even need the big ol' Zuck, we're just right here. That's really not cool that he was a ball. Make a route guide? Yeah, let's make a how to do boom run or boomtown quickly guide. How to do boomtown sub 5 minutes guide. Play Technomancer, win. Play Technomancer, beat the game. Pretty standard, nothing crazy. What does weapon leech actually mean? You heal for a percentage of the damage that you do. Not 1-to-1 though. I really dislike this part at the end here. It's just so time consuming. Well, we did it in 3 minutes. We did it in 3 minutes. I guess we're just... What is that, dude? What is that, man? Why is that a thing? What is that, dude?